The governor of Borno State, Professor Babagana Zulum, is providing a substantial backing to the truism that a house divided against itself can never stand. Governor Zulum's recent statement alleged that some politicians and members of the armed forces are acting as informants and collaborators for Boko Haram insurgents. His comment comes as the state continues to witness a resurgence in the activities of Boko Haram fighters. During his visit to Marte local government area, the governor warned that Boko Haram terrorists are on the brink of taking over the area as only one town out of 300 remains under government control. Vicky, I remember when we talked about this, I think it was last week when he talked about one town, but the governor visiting the local government area. Well, why do you think it's important for him to visit and also even spend the night there? Why is it so important?
It's confidence building, and I think he's doing his best to encourage the troops. We need to see that video. Okay. The producer has to show us that video so that you can see that, yes, this town was overrun by the insurgents, but the governor went there, of course, well protected by troops. But being protected by troops is not a guarantee that you can't come under fire. True. There was a general that I traveled to one of the dangerous zones with, who told me, come on, if some of these soldiers hear the sound of an anti-aircraft gun, you won't see anybody again. I said, what? It was at that point that I knew that I was taking a risk. He said, and he was going around with his own rifle. He said, at least I can protect myself. No? The problem, the situation in Borno State is dire. I think that in the desire to strengthen our hand in the northwest, we moved troops from the northeast because there was a time, let's face it, there was a time we were no longer hearing stories of attacks by Boko Haram.
Yes, exactly.
You know, in Borno State. We were no longer hearing. We had stabilized the region. More than 300,000 fighters had decided to lay down their arms, you know, had decided to repent. So we moved troops to strengthen the northwest. Yes. Don't forget, the two ministers of defense are from the northwest. One is from Jigawa, the other one is from Zamfara. So they needed to defeat banditry in their...
in their own region.
Yes, so that they won't say, oh, they made people ministers and
yes, we can't see
you can't defeat banditry. I saw that political connection. And the governor has been saying, no, we have neglected the northeast. What he was saying was that we moved armaments, we moved troops to strengthen the northwest. It is evident now that he was saying the truth. He came under attack at that time needlessly. This is the man who feels it, and they say who feels it knows it. Bob Marley sang that song, you know. So today, between October and March, we came under attack more than 150 times in that area. During that period, we lost more than 100 troops. A lot of these things not reported. But a lot of military barracks had fallen to the insurgents as a result of some steps that were taken. I was in Maiduguri a few weeks back, I think about 3 or 4 weeks ago, the soldiers I spoke with also told me that at this time they need weapons. Allied to that is the fact that the enemy now uses drones, military-grade drones, unmanned area vehicles fitted with weapons. So sometimes as they are arriving at especially when you are not even prepared.
Absolutely.
And they like to fight at night these days because they have night vision goggles, they have night fighting capability. These weapons, how they acquire some of these weapons within a short time, we don't know. But we also know that our borders are porous.
Yes.
We also know that we share extensive borders with Niger Republic, especially. Yobe in the northeast.
Sahi generally.
So those countries and Niger Republic is not on good terms with Nigeria at this time. The military cooperation that we enjoyed with them in the days of JTF is not really there. Those countries are not cooperating. So with the fact that they are not cooperating, some of the insurgents could move into Nigeria from Niger, for example, especially those states like Borno and Yobe. They will move in and retreat into those ungoverned spaces inside Niger. Because Niger is, as I always say, is to a large extent a failed state.
Yes.
So they move into that place, hibernate. When they want to attack, they come in through Babangida, through Gaydam, and some of those border communities. And unfortunately for us, some of those border communities in Borno State are in enemy hands. It's not everywhere that the military has been able to exercise control.
Sure.
Sometimes we refrain from saying some of this, but now you can hear the governor saying that only out of 300 communities, only one. You know, there are two Martes. There is New Marte, there is Marte. So the other one, they still have people. And it's like that in many parts of Borno where you have a whole local government, only one town is inhabited by people. The rest, they've left to those boys to do whatever they like. We still have Guzamala. There is no presence of the military in the whole of Guzamala. A whole local government, they are there. That's the hometown of the speaker of Borno State. No one can argue that. Malam Fatori, the people, the Boko Malam Fatori, those boys simply doing what they like. The bulk of Monguno.
Yeah, you talked about the senator.
It's only one town. It's only one town that you can find people living. Even the governor's land of birth, which is Zulum. Zulum is in Monguno local government. The governor has not gone to his hometown since like 2014. So this is the thing. He has now reached that point that he has to talk. He has to see how best he can get his people out of this mess, and he needs the support. The armed forces must come together now and put an end to this embarrassment of terrorists killing our troops and filming them. It has to end.
It has to end. It has to end. But the governor made a revelation, this morning, in an interview. He accused soldiers and politicians of acting as informants. I mean, what's going on?
That's a question I would like to ask you too. It's actually, that's not the first time you'll be hearing that. It's so sad that our territorial integrity is under serious assault again. And it's very unfortunate. Let me recall that in 2013, I was in the Ministry of Defense. I was at Mate. After Mate, we went to Kerenoa. After Kerenoa, Lake Chad. And we were in the periphery of Sambisa Forest. That was the era of General Chris Olukolade as a spokesperson for the Nigerian Defense. I was then the SA to the Minister of Defense. It's very unfortunate that this is happening again. We thought we had won the war from that axis. But now there's a resurgence of that insurgence from that axis, and it's very, 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 very unfortunate. And I sympathize with the governor. He's very outspoken. He said the truth. That was not the first time. Remember, President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan said the same thing.
That is in his
he made the allegation that in his cabinet there are people who are informants, who are snitching on the military and government, telling the enemy the strategies of the military.
What do you think is responsible
What is responsible is this. Some people have been radicalized. Some people are doing it for ethnic reasons, some for commercial reasons. I don't trust some soldiers because insecurity in Nigeria has become a big business. Not only to the insurgent and the bandit, even to the people in the military. We budget billions and billions of naira every year to fight insurgents. We don't get results most often than not. The result we get is that generals are getting richer, they are buying houses across the world, and they are feeding fat on the common patrimony of the nation. So it has become a big and a big business, and it's embarrassment. I sympathize with the governor, who has been very outspoken, very pragmatic, and a patriotic Borno man who believes that I am helpless. And I think Mr. President should just wake up, call and summon a service chiefs to do much more than they are doing. We don't expect the president to take up arms and
But he's been giving them orders.
He's giving them money. Orders. But people that are not delivering should be fired.
Okay, BK.
We should fire those who are not doing well.
What kind of safeguard do you think should be put in place? I mean, to take out all of these informants out of this equation, so as not to compromise operations.
Arrests have been made in the past of informants within the army, not just for bandits, but for insurgents. I remember from the former chief of defense staff, the Rabo, even speaking to the press, talking about that disturbing trend that people in the armed forces were working for the enemy. If you Google it, you see that story. And it was a long list of arrests made and all that. So it's not saying some politicians are happy that we are in insecurity.
That's right.
Because they think they will reap political gains from it.
That's right.
But it's your country at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
And people who are doing this kind of thing, if put on trial. Remember, some of our own people are even financiers to these insurgents. They made arrests in the UAE.
Yeah, the UAE, yeah, exactly.
Remember, even bandits, you know, arrests were made some time ago in respect of people, including a journalist, giving information to bandits and even working directly with them. So these things are there. It's not as if he said something that has not been said before. But I think that given the situation that we find ourselves now, he felt the need to reinforce it.
Exactly.
We need to defeat the enemies of the state, parading themselves as patriotic Nigerians. When we are approaching elections, you see this kind of ugly dimensions to it. A place that had been stable, suddenly you start hearing, oh, things are falling apart again. We cannot be weaponizing insecurity. We cannot be politicizing insecurity. It makes no sense. And I think that it's time. We are hearing that some commanders are complacent in the Northeast. They are not even following the operational standards set for them, especially to defend their bases when they come under attack. Such commanders must be sent packing. You don't need to keep them. Send them packing. Anybody who is not delivering, whether you are a DPO or you are an army commander somewhere, if you are not delivering, they should show you the door.
You should lose your job.
If you don't do that, if you don't make examples of incompetent people, we will never have results.
That's right.
And we need results in this situation.
Okay, now because
Amir had something, please. You see, we have this information, but we should process this information into intelligence. That's how I work. And try to make examples. If you don't start to parade people and make scapegoat, people will not be deterred from snitching on their nation, betraying their nation.
Absolutely.
Patriotism can be galvanized when you see soldiers who are ready to fight the bandits. Will not be happy when those people are the enemies of the nation, are just roaming free.
All right, gentlemen.